Many of you may or may not know if you've seen my other videos in the past. However, I really got my start trading cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency and Bitcoin were really what got me into investing and what got me excited about trading and everything that I do to this day. And so when I see something like this happening in the cryptocurrency markets, happening to Bitcoin, I get extremely excited because I know that I'm going to be able to participate in this massive expansion of a revolutionary market once again. And so in this video today, I'm going to try to make my case for how to trade this next cryptocurrency and Bitcoin boom, as well as why I think this boom has already started. I think for a lot of people, especially at the beginning of any massive expansion of a new technology or, Bitcoin going up again above $20,000, there's always a lot of hesitation of, is this really going to be the next boom? Are we just going up to $20,000 and then crashing back down? Are we really going to go to all-time highs? Is everything going to crash if the stock market crashes? There's a lot of hesitation and inherently there's a lot of risk. And so I'm going to try to explain to you why I do not think that this move up to where we're at right now, which is around $18,500, which is absolutely insane, why this move is critically important and why we have started the next Bitcoin bull run, as well as what my personal investment strategies will be for this next bull run. And I don't want to make this channel too much about cryptocurrency. This is purely just a video to share my enthusiasm, to share my research and information on cryptocurrency. And if you want to learn more about cryptocurrency and trading and cryptocurrencies that I'm investing in, then I do have another channel where I upload videos on that, which you will be able to find in the description down below. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. First looking, of course, at the Bitcoin chart. And so here you're able to see our massive growth from around the $12,000 level, breaking above this little resistance point. And now we have gone all the way up to a high of almost $19,000, $18,991. And we're currently at $18,500. Now, something that's really important or interesting today is that not only has Bitcoin started to move up, but we've also seen sort of the altcoin laggards start to come into the market and move up as well. So you're seeing cryptocurrencies like Ripple today, and they are going up considerably higher. So here's a little chart here. You can see that this spike, so if in case you're not too familiar with cryptocurrency, this is a fairly popular altcoin or alternative cryptocurrency as opposed to Bitcoin. And in fact, Ripple has gone up around 60% since this Bitcoin move has started to calm down. And I'll sort of expand on this in just a bit, but first, let me explain why this move to $18,500 is more significant than it may seem at first, or why this is not just some insignificant random move that's occurring on Bitcoin, and how this will be sustained. So there are a couple of trends that are very interesting, and this has sort of been my whole thesis for cryptocurrency on this next bull run. You need to understand that investors coming from Robinhood and coming from these alternative finance applications are extremely valuable. And we've seen that in the stock market. So if you follow this channel, I assume you're a little bit more well-versed in traditional financial markets. And you know that recently, especially throughout the COVID pandemic, a lot of traders have gotten into the market, especially during the previous stimulus, because people were getting that $1,200 and they were deciding to go invest in Robinhood, go invest in the stock market because they felt like there was a large opportunity there. And not only that, but also a lot of these alternative investment apps started to become very trendy. It was almost as if it was Bitcoin back in 2017, where everyone was saying, you need to put your money into Bitcoin. Whereas this time, everyone was saying you need to put your money into Robinhood so that you can get your finances for the future. And so my main thesis for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, as I said before, is that all of these investors that have some market experience, they've gotten into investing, they started trading on Robinhood, and we've seen a lot of these high risk investments go up in value, such as options. A lot of options premiums right now are artificially high from these new investors. This new investor base is going to start to see Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and they are going to have just as much of an impact on the cryptocurrency markets as they've had on the stock market. And not only will they have as much of an impact on the cryptocurrency markets, but in fact, they'll have much more of an impact as traditional stock and equity markets are much larger than cryptocurrency. You know, when we talk about the stock market, we talk about trillions and trillions of dollars. When we talk about cryptocurrency, we're talking about, you know, millions of dollars. So when you have an equal amount of capital moving into the cryptocurrency market, or even just a fraction of these Robinhood investors and alternative finance investors coming into the cryptocurrency market, that is going to be extremely significant. So here I've pulled up a couple of charts of search trends from these alternative financial applications looking at Bitcoin or looking into cryptocurrency to see if this trend is already starting. So first we have Cash App Bitcoin, which if you don't know, Cash App, I believe has been supporting Bitcoin for quite a while now. I know the CEO of Twitter, he particularly likes cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And so they've always had this functionality in Cash App to buy Bitcoin. But as you can see here, as of recently, the number of people searching for this has surged and reached all-time highs. So clearly, you can see a trend here of retail investors starting to get interested into Bitcoin. Next, we have Robinhood, which, as I mentioned before, in my opinion, is the most significant one because this is really where you're going to see all of those Robinhood investors get into the market. And here we've also seen a spike in interest. Now, the interesting thing here, of course, because I don't want to make anything sound better than it really is in reality. And so, of course, here it's not perfect. We're not at all-time highs. We're not spiking above levels that we've reached previously, such as in August or in May here. However, this is still significant growth. So it's still showing that throughout Cash App and now Robinhood, there is some growth of retail investors looking into Bitcoin. Finally, if we also look at the PayPal trend, so if you don't know, recently PayPal announced that they were going to start selling Bitcoin, so they're going to allow their users to purchase Bitcoin. This has seen significant growth, and I did do a little bit of research, and I did, of course, notice that I think a significant portion of this search is coming from people just purely looking at the news. You know, people heard that PayPal is now going to start selling Bitcoin, and so they're just looking up the news for that rather than actually using PayPal to purchase Bitcoin. However, what's more significant here is not so much people looking up the news for it, but also that this has sort of been a sustained spike. So not only did we see the spike when it first came out, but I think now we're starting to see people who maybe weren't as familiar with Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, or maybe they're PayPal users, and they're starting to see, well, what is this all about? How can I get into Bitcoin? How can I use PayPal to purchase Bitcoin? I think that sort of this sustained spike coming from this news is very significant as well. Finally, I wanted to show the Bitcoin search interest chart. And the interesting thing here is that we really haven't seen any move at all. The number of people looking up what Bitcoin is, trying to get into the cryptocurrency markets, hasn't really significantly spiked, aside from a few very small niche searches relating to these particular platforms. So when it comes to the social arbitrage play, of course, you can look at the Bitcoin chart, right? If I look at Bitcoin USD, and I see, oh my gosh, Bitcoin is at $18,500, then I'm thinking I missed out, right? Everyone already knows about this. There's already a significant number of people purchasing Bitcoin. However, my counter argument to that would be, well, if that is true, then why is the Bitcoin search term not spiking? Why aren't there more people looking up what Bitcoin is, trying to get into Bitcoin? As you can tell here, that really hasn't happened yet. So what I'm trying to say is my thesis is being proved by the fact that we are seeing retail interest start to increase for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. You're seeing platforms like Cash App, Robinhood, and PayPal, and people are clearly interested in cryptocurrency. And so that has allowed the price of Bitcoin to increase in value from existing investors in the cryptocurrency space and possibly institutional investors as well. However, when it comes to the social arbitrage edge, this is very early information and it has not come into fruition fully at all. There's still a lot of room for expansion, and I personally believe that these search trends such as Robinhood Bitcoin and Cash App Bitcoin will spike much farther than they have already. This is only the beginning. That's sort of what I'm trying to say, and that's sort of the point of this video. It's to show that while the price has increased dramatically, this is only the beginning and there is a social arbitrage play to be had here. Now, the next question for me is really, what is the least amount of risk that you will be able to invest into these cryptocurrency markets? So how can you achieve the greatest risk return trade in the cryptocurrency markets? Because of course, while it may seem like this thesis that I'm making will definitely become true, and while it might seem very compelling, or however compelling you think it is, you still want to find the best trade. A lot of the best trades tend to be not the direct asset. As while I do believe that Bitcoin will continue to increase in value, and I'm sure that it will be quite a substantial increase, there may still be better trades. And so in these better trades, in my opinion, the place to look is the altcoin market. And as I mentioned before, that means alternative cryptocurrency. So anything that's not Bitcoin. One that you might have heard before is Ethereum. So if we look at the altcoin market, so this is just the overall market capitalization for altcoins, you can see here that we have had growth, however, much less growth than the main large cryptocurrencies, the top cap cryptocurrencies that are the top 5 market cap of the cryptocurrency market. There is much less growth in altcoins thus far. Now, I think it's very important to understand that I'm not recommending you necessarily invest in altcoins, because I have a very important disclaimer or thing that you need to first look at is you need to do significant research into the altcoin itself, because I will tell you that 90 to maybe 95% of these altcoins, regardless of how large they are, I know just looking at this page right here, there are probably at least 5, 6, or 7 cryptocurrencies that I think are complete scams. And obviously those can be whole separate videos themselves. However, my point is that if you're truly trying to take advantage of this social arbitrage play, investing into the cryptocurrency market, and you don't necessarily want to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum because you think the risk reward there is not necessarily as good as you would like it to be, then what I recommend you do is you look in the altcoin market and you try to find the altcoins that have legitimate products that have not yet moved up in price. What you need to understand is that a lot of the cryptocurrency market is completely irrational. A lot of the investors in this market, they're purely looking for the hype plays. They're purely looking for what YouTubers are going to start making videos on what people are going to start talking about in Telegram chats. They don't necessarily care if it's a legitimately good project or if it's a legitimate project that will be worth a certain valuation. And so that's where you see a lot of this irrationality coming into these cryptocurrency projects that are complete scams, and they're still able to reach ginormous valuations. However, what I tend to see is that during these large growth periods for cryptocurrency, you will still have legitimate projects that tend to lag behind in terms of the hype cycle. So maybe it takes a little bit longer for investors to find that specific project and then start to hype it up. And the reason why there's such a large opportunity here is because, as I showed you before, we are in the very early stages of altcoin growth for this next cryptocurrency hype cycle. And so if you can go on these websites such as CoinMarketCap, research altcoins that you believe have legitimate trends behind them. So maybe they offer a product that actually has users. One specific altcoin that's much more well known is Ethereum. That's one project that I believe is very much legitimate, and they have a real product that has seen massive trends in adoption and use. If you can find altcoins like Ethereum that have legitimate use cases, and I will be making a video on my second channel of a cryptocurrency that I'm making a large investment into that's an altcoin. If you can find these cryptocurrencies and wait for the hype cycle to catch up to them, then that is really the best investment that you can make to try to take advantage of this next cryptocurrency hype cycle. Because the thing is, if you look at a lot of these cryptocurrencies that are maybe, let's just say Golem here. So this is a cryptocurrency that's number 100 in terms of largest market cap. You will see that long-term, it is still extremely low compared to its long-term trends. So on these altcoin hype cycles, these coins can go up thousands of %. However, whenever they go into these sort of sideways periods here, as you can see on this chart, it really has much lower volatility. So if you're wrong on one of these trades, the downside will be much smaller. However, even if you are wrong, it's still likely that it could go up in value due to just purely hype and people getting into the cryptocurrency markets. However, if you're right on one of these altcoins that gets hype at one point or another throughout the next cryptocurrency hype cycle, then the upside is absolutely humongous. So that is really, in my opinion, the best investment that you can make in this next Bitcoin boom. And while I am saying this, and while I'm saying that this can be the best investment, of course, me personally, I still have money long-term in Ethereum and Bitcoin. In fact, much more money long-term in Bitcoin and Ethereum than I do in any altcoin. And that's just personally because cryptocurrency markets have been such a significant thing in my life that I want to have long-term investments in these assets that I truly believe in. However, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.